Most of them were from Chicago. They represented over 100 community organizations. That included the NAACP, it included the Midwest Latino Alliance, it included the American Indian Movement, it included the Black Panther Party, it included faith groups from Jewish communities, from Christian communities, and so on and so forth. And what they were here to do was to hold a 2-day conference that was going to debate the issue or try to advance the issue of community control of the police. A bunch of people, not just from Chicago, but from across the country, descended upon this campus to throw their support behind the initiative. Fannie Lou Hamer was here. Julian Bond was here. Bobby Seale was here from Oakland. And so on and so forth. And what they were doing was to really issue a moral and political challenge to the city of Chicago. The claim that they were making here on this campus 47 years ago was really pretty simple. The claim was that over time the city had stopped investing in its people, and they had taken to investing far too heavily in the policing and the punishment of those people. They talked about how what was then a roughly $300 million budget for the Chicago Police Department was sucking up resources that could have been used for job programs, for schools, and for other community services. They questioned what the point was of spending so much of the city's money on a system of punishment that was still not effectively keeping people safe, either from violence at the hands of police or from other citizens. And while we might choose to think of the view they offered as one narrowly confined to thinking specifically about the police, it was actually a much larger challenge to city leaders' political and budgetary choices. And I raised that bit of history because I think it gets to the heart of what we're here to discuss today. The reality is that while poverty is the product of a complex and intersecting set of processes, how a city responds to it is a matter of individual and collective choice. And in the 47 years that coalition of community activists gathered here, even as crime rose and fell, a consensus has existed in City Hall that one of the very, very few public services that is uncuttable and unredistributable are ones attached to the criminal justice system. In other words, the ones that ultimately punish people. So the city will spend more than $1.7 billion this year just on its police force. And that doesn't factor in the roughly $100 million or so it usually spends every year settling police misconduct suits. And this is happening in a city where the previous mayor told us that the city couldn't afford its public schools, couldn't afford its mental health clinics, and so on and so forth. And so one of the real tragedies of Chicago's story of poverty, past and present, is the degree to which city leaders have chosen to criminalize poverty. So people without decent schools or access to jobs may enter the underground economy and get arrested for petty theft or for drug sales or so on and so forth. People with mental illness may not be able to afford care or medicine, and then the police are called when they have an episode. People languish in jail for days, weeks, and months because they can't afford cash bail, even though they haven't even been convicted of doing anything yet. We cut money for schools and expand the funds for juvenile detention, which only visits further harm on the city's most important resource, that being our kids. And so that's the thing, is that such investment in punishment, the criminalization of being poor, the idea that the solution to crimes of poverty is not to work to alleviate poverty, but to punish people for living in poverty, that this has meant less resources for other and more healthy social goods. Poverty is ultimately about money. And the more we criminalize poverty, the less we can invest in helping people get out of it. And so, as we're having these conversations, I think it's important to understand that that ultimately what we're talking about is money. And there is money in this city. It's just concentrated, right? And so when we think about how we're going to solve these problems, I'm talking about a particular section of the city budget, that being the portion of the budget that goes to punishing people. And so if we're thinking about even that narrow section of the city budget, what might we do with $1.7 billion every year? And how might we reinvest that? How might we take just a section of that $1.7 billion that we spend on policing every year and invest it, for example, in youth programs? Or what might it look like for us to take a portion of that $1.7 billion and invest it in a universal basic income for people who live in poverty in the city? So I think this is very, very important for us to be very clear about what we are talking about and to be very precise about the need to think creatively and to think indeed radically about the solution to this really entrenched problem. Thank you.